Show notes in my face. What? I hate it when it like unlogs me out
Oh yeah, I don't like that either. Oh dear.
because I have to re-sign into here.
Yeah, I don't think we're signed up with Google Analytics right now. I mean, we're signed up, but like it's not connected. It's not
Yeah.
good. Okay. Well, I'm excited about today. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I thought that we can like have a high level view of some of this discussion. I didn't actually even finish looking at the podcast consumer data yet.
You didn't? I did.
I looked
Good.
at a lot. I wrote some notes, but I didn't watch.
Yeah,
Most
is
of them.
good.
And then there's something else I wanted to talk about. If we have enough time, I do have something else that I'd love to
Put it on there. Why not?
chat about. I don't want to put it
Do it.
on there until we have time. Until I know that we cover all the other stuff. Or maybe that would be the fun part of it all.
Yeah. It sounds fun.
Does it?
No.
Yeah, here, I'm going to see if you even know what it is. I'm going to write it in there. See. Do you see my show notes now? Do you see the one thing that I wrote in there? And
Yes. What the hell does that mean?
you don't know? Oh my God, Jessica Kufferman.
Oh, hold on. I'll Google it. Take
Oh
it
my
easy.
God!
What? I don't know what it. Oh,
Come on now. It's all reality show.
I don't watch reality shows, as you know.
Well, I don't know that you.
Yes,
I
you
cannot.
do.
No, well, you always say like, yeah, no, but you know, I
I
thought that
don't
you.
like fake realities. Shit, I have to pee all of a sudden and out of nowhere. God damn it.
All
I
right.
hate
Well, you can
it.
go, and because
It's
we're
just
live,
annoying because
I'll
we
just
just got
talk
on.
to all the people.
Just give me a second. It's just Melissa, I'm sure.
I will talk to all the people,
Sorry,
and I'm gonna go like this. Everybody, hi, folks. Is anybody here today? As we're chatting, we are getting ready to record episode 3. Oh my gosh, 380. 393. Oh my God, 393. We are getting ready to do it. So if you have any questions, please drop them in here. Absolutely, absolutely. Any cues? What am I, anything interesting that I have to share with you all today? I don't know. Sometimes I do have dreams of live streaming on my own and just turning things on and, talking because I've been consuming so much live streams, so many live streams. It's crazy. And I've been very much enjoying myself. And I feel that a lot of live streams are very much like sometimes like podcasts, like back in the day podcasts, and they make me feel happy. Hi. Oh, there
Hi.
we go. I'm back. I'm
But
just
live streams were
trying.
never like podcasts have never really been live, at least not successfully.
No,
Right?
dude. No, but what I'm saying is that live streams are the way that podcasts kind of have always been. With sometimes it was like somebody behind the microphone just talking, or two like us right now, just people talking to one another. That's what it used to be with
Yes.
That's how I got into podcasts. I used to
Right.
listen to people just start talking or
Right.
talk on their own and have like these monologues. And that's what live streams are like.
Mhm.
And I find them to be exactly what I need because they're so non-important.
Okay.
like they're not, it's not, it's chatter. It's not making me think about things. Whereas
Yeah.
now there's a lot of podcasts out there. I just saw that there's another show that's being produced and I read the concept of it and I was like, this is deep. And I don't want to listen because it's too much. It's like they're like very serious issues being like in depth, like discussion of the inequities of the world. And there's times where I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
that's it. So that's me with reality.
Oh, yeah, I hate it. I got tired of being. First of all, I got tired of them making a show out of 4 clips. Like, stop showing me the same shit before and after every commercial break. It was driving me up a
Oh,
wall. I hate that. And then also, I just felt like they were creating drama where none existed. And I'm not sure I agree with that philosophically, if you know what I mean.
totally.
So I don't like reality TV. My mother used to love it, but I hate it.
I got into it because of the pandemic.
Makes
So the
sense.
pandemic, I had never been a person that listened to or watched any ever, like at all, like zero.
Right.
I think that I watched Survivor the first season. And then I think I also watched 2 seasons of like American Idol way back in the day, like those
Mhm.
first 2, and then I didn't anymore. It was like that was about the extent of my and remember what was it, that one that was about the weight loss people, there was that one.
600-pound life?
No, it was like what
Oh,
again,
Big Lou, Biggest
The
Loser.
Biggest Loser, that's right. The Biggest Loser. Like way back in the day, I used to watch The Biggest Loser too. I think I watched 2 seasons of that.
Yeah, I
And it
did.
was right when my kid was born. And that's when like Ren and I had just gotten together. Like 2008 and 9 were like a couple of years of me watching some of these as they like, as they came on actual TV. And you watched
Yeah,
every
I mean,
that was
yeah.
the extent of
My
my
mom got into American Idol and couldn't get out.
Oh my gosh. I actually watching this season and I really have enjoyed it. Every time I watch it, I cry.
I know. It is
I
always
cry.
full of fucking sob stories and shit. I know.
Yeah. And the songs, like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that song is so beautiful.
I know. I've seen
And
some of the auditions this year. They have been really heart jerking, tear jerking.
yeah. Anyway, but we should
Anyway, all right.
record. We
We
should
should
record our show.
Yep. Let me know. I'm ready when you're ready.
I'm going to go ahead and 3, 2, 1, press record. Okay.
Hello, Elsie.
Hello, Jessica.
I think we're ready.
I think we are as well.
That's of course my attempt at being sultry. Instead, it's a clown. It's a clown.
It was good, but you laughed at the end of it.
Cause my voice broke.
No, you did the better job
I'm
when you
so
were trying
stupid.
to be serious.
Okay,
You could have done it. Also, for those of you who are not watching, actually, we haven't started. I'm not going to say anything until we start.
Okay.
So, okay.
Are you ready?
We are ready. Let's do this thing.
Okay. Hey everyone, this is Jessica Kupferman. Welcome to episode 393. Oh my God, 7 episodes away from 400. I cannot believe it. I am your co-host, Jessica Kupferman. With me, as always, the reality TV watching Elsie Escobar. I can't believe that of all the television she does not watch, that reality TV is the one that she does. This is a girl who could not name one pop culture reference ever. If she had to save her life, she would die in a fire.
Yes.
There's
You are
no way
correct.
she'd be able to name actors, actresses, TV, movies. Yet reality TV is what she enjoys. That's amazing to me. Welcome to you. How are
Yay.
you? How are you
First
doing?
of all, I wanted to say, for those of you who are not here, first, we do live stream every Monday. We do our very, very best almost every Monday with a
Yes.
little asterisk on top at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you ever want to join us on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, which is where we'd love for you to go and watch us do this thing, we are there. And so I just want to say, Jess, you look really amazing today. This
Thank
color
you.
green she is wearing is a beautiful far screen with matching, y'all, listen, she has got matching nails and they are delicious because not only do they match, oh my God, look at this color. Everybody needs to come to our channel to see this color. Not only does the forest green match her dress, but it also has these little iridescent things that are going along with it that are
Yeah.
got little bits of yellow and
Yeah, they change
gold.
color. Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh?
Really beautiful. And
Mooncat Alien
the
Invasion.
say that again.
Mooncat Alien Invasion is what it's called.
Mooncat alien invasion.
Yeah.
And you have to, the key to the way that this outfit works amazingly is that as she moves her hands, you get a glint of the color of her nails, but you don't actually go like you don't see the iridescence, but it always like sparkles from far away.
I'm trying to
Oh,
it's hard to it
you
will
are
only
so
focus
good.
on me, but the bottle's better because the bottle's like you can see there's blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. I
Yeah, thank
love
you.
that.
I knew you
Very
would.
nice.
It's a good color for you.
She looks deliciously gorgeous and
Thanks. That's so nice. I have
beautiful.
many
Uh,
meetings and interviews today, so I thought, what the heck? I'll shower, put on some.
oh,
Oh,
look.
someone said you talked about Mooncat before, and I totally bought a bunch, and I'm wearing mermaid bait. So for those of you this is
Nice.
mermaid bait right here. It's almost not identical to Alien Invasion, but if you look, like
Yeah,
they're very similar in that they're
they're
holographic.
very similar. I
Yeah, mermaid
love
bait's
it.
really nice too because it's got like a pink purple shimmer under the blue. Oh, hi Jenny. Yes, don't you? I knew it would be your style of stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah,
bought
I
that
love
one
it.
this last time. So they have a limited edition one, so I had to buy this one, which is called When Hell Freezes Over.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And then the other two were sort of on sale. But yeah, look at that one. It's blue with like a
Very
green
pretty.
here. Yeah. Anyway, I'm
We love
obsessed.
it.
Yes. Wait, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so that's why I look cute because I've got a bunch of interviews today, and I thought, why not just go all out? I may as well because you never know what the
I'm
day's
loving it.
gonna bring, and it's getting nice out, even though it's kind of chilly, and I see some leaves budding on my trees out here, and spring has sprung.
Spring is springing. It is so
It is.
nice. I love it. I love it.
It
So,
is.
all
So
right.
we've got lots to discuss today. Why don't we start with your skadooble?
Oh my God. Do you really want to start with that? Because we can talk about the
It won't be
entire
a long
time. We're going to
conversation.
watch
No, we
it.
can't because I don't watch it.
No, but here, no. But I have context and stuff. This does have to do with podcast consumption and creators and the creator economy of which we are all part of because we're constantly creating content and we're having these conversations and the potential that we have to gain an audience that's based on pop culture. Or it actually reminded me about being able to really get the scoop on all kinds of very interesting things that I didn't really know even existed or I could get prior to whatever's happening. So yes, during the pandemic, just a quick overview, because like most of us were stuck at home, I bought, I think it was Hulu for the first time. I signed up for Hulu
What?
in 2020. I hadn't signed up for anything other than Netflix prior to that.
I thought we were sharing Hulu.
No, we were sharing the Verizon
Oh, God. Okay.
Verizon thing for a while. Yeah.
That's fine.
So I signed up for Hulu and in looking through Hulu stuff, I thought, oh my gosh, they have like all of this, like the Kardashians. They had the Kardashians at that time. They had like the Real Housewives and all of these things. And so I was super bored, and hence I literally binge watched all of the Kardashians. I binge watched many seasons of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And in doing so, when I was binging that season, there was a couple of episodes that were inserted into the season. So this is something that a lot of people talk about in terms of podcasts, but let's talk about that in a moment. So I watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and they had this episode about these young kids that were working at a restaurant and the chaos that was ensuing as they worked at a restaurant. And as you know, I worked at a restaurant for 10 years. And hence, when I saw that, I was like, that looks very familiar to me. So I decided to watch what was that called Vanderpump Rules. So then I started watching Vanderpump Rules because it was about these kids at a restaurant. And in watching those first seasons, again, all of this is in 2020. I was like, it was reminding me of working at a restaurant for 10 years in Beverly Hills. It was like so I was like, oh my God, yeah, I totally get all of this, except it was so extra, right? So we were
Yeah.
a little bit incestuous in there and did some bad stuff, but not to the
Whoa.
degree of what was happening there.
Okay.
So I got very into it. Again, I watched the majority of Vanderpump until I OD'd, because that's what tends to happen. I OD
Yeah,
on stuff and then
same.
I'm done.
Me too.
And so I put it away, right? And then I kind of started watching the latest season of
Mhm.
Vanderpump Rules just because it just came back. And I was like,
Mhm.
eh. And dude, there was a huge scandal that broke, like at the beginning of March.
Really?
Like it astounded everyone. Like the whole, I mean, even CNN reported on it because
Gotta
it's
love the
so
juice.
huge.
I
Okay.
love the juice.
So somebody was having an affair with somebody else for 7 months.
Oh my God.
And nobody knew about it. But it was two of the main people in there that were having an affair with one another. And one of them was in a committed relationship with their partner for 10 years. And he's the one that was having an affair with this other girl.
Mhm.
And it literally broke the internet. Like everybody has been talking about this thing. So it's crazy the amount, because everybody is so in shock, because this is not fabricated. This was not something they put in the script. They're now capitalizing on it, but it's because it was like, whoa, right? So after looking at all this stuff, I of course started to binge every bit of information like everybody else that wanted to know more, because everybody's like, oh my God, can you believe it? And so I've been listening to all kinds of podcasts. I've been watching all kinds of live streams, and every live streamer that covers Bravo on YouTube
Mhm.
is talking about this. And I cannot tell you what a blissed out experience it's been to just have gossip happening about this one issue over and over
Yeah.
again. And I've discovered so many people who are creating great content on YouTube, people who are podcasting, have their shows on YouTube. I've been binge listening to podcasts about pop culture that I never really listened to before, because I want to listen to just this.
I'm amazed you're even this involved, frankly.
I am so involved because I'm so curious to see how everybody is so like, people are showing up and taking pictures, and then somebody else is talking about, and they're all reporting on each other. So it's this whole thing where it's like, listen, so-and-so covered it on their podcast. And so we're going to talk about this thing. But if you want to listen to that one, you have to go listen to their podcast. And then the other person's talking about it on their podcast. And so it's this whole podcast posse,
like
that's all.
ecosystem.
Yes, and so I'm thinking, like, what a great way to discover other podcasters, because everybody's jumping to another podcaster that they may not have known about before, because everybody wants to know the content so badly
Yeah.
that they will just go and listen to these shows. So I'm not saying all of us can really use that tactic, because
Right.
it's pop culture, but I do feel there's something to be said about, if in your industry a topic comes out that everyone is talking about, there's something to be said about going in different places and covering the event, and then sending everybody else to go listen to the show somewhere else about a topic that you really, really care about, because you never know. I mean,
No,
it
you
can,
never
like,
know.
you'll be discovering other things. So anyway, I know it's like, I've been having a great time. You know,
That is
I'm making you fall
shocking.
asleep.
No, you're
And,
not. I'm just no, I've been sleep training Isaac.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
that's
going
right. You
well.
have.
It's nothing
That
to
is
do with how boring
correct.
you are.
Thanks.
No, you're not boring. You are riveting. It's just that it's just that my little boy will not sleep in his own mother flipping bed.
You know,
So
speaking of that, how old is he? 8?
8. And I was
Okay.
just gonna ask you how old, because I seem to recall this was the most troublesome time for your
Yes,
youngest.
absolutely.
Was this age, but
Yep.
I think they still slept with you until 10.
Yep.
Right?
It was like,
But it was just you, not Randy.
It was just me. It was 9. I think, you know what it was? At like almost almost 10. I think it was 10. It was like right at that, literally the birthday part,
Yeah.
because we kept talking about it and going, like Rand was so good with her. It's going to be like, we did all the things like, we got her bedroom ready for her. Like, not that she didn't have a bedroom, but like,
no, but
other thing, like, let's get the special this and the special that. And we did a lot of that stuff and build her up to be in a place where she would feel like, I think it's time. And what ended up happening, I think the thing that actually did it was when in her own brain, she had the capacity to choose it. Not to say that it was hard, like it's that she was like
creating anxiety at night, which is creating an even worse situation. Like every night he's like, but can I come in? What time can I come in? Am I allowed to come in? Because he goes to sleep in his own bed.
And what I like what we did with May, I think what ended up happening is I would get very angry, right? Of course, because I was like, I need to sleep.
I'm getting so angry.
I'm just like, I need to sleep. And then I started to lose my mind and I was like, ah! And then I remember there was a point there that I kind of gave up. And
that's how I am too.
And so then what I did is like, I literally said to her, you know what? It's okay. Yeah. I'm just going to be here. It's okay. Come in, like do your best. And I just said like, do your best to make it to this time if you can. But if not, just come in here. And then I just gave her parameters. Like, do you like try not to wake me up? Be as quiet as possible. Like, things like that, where I said that. And I said, in order for me to sleep and for you to sleep, these are the things I need. And I told her I need to have my covers this way, or like, let's get like, so, and don't get so close, because what ended up happening is like, my temperature started to change because of a whole menopause thing. And I was like, I can't sleep if you're too close to me, because I get super, super hot. So she kind of learned
in the middle of me and Scott.
I don't even know how that you guys can deal with it. But
we
anyway,
have a pretty large bed. I mean, we have a king bed, but it's 2 mattresses because remember I told you we have the city uppy ones. And he sleeps kind of in the crack in the middle. And actually, he ends up gravitating towards Scott, which is unfortunate for him and fortunate for me. But I don't know how they handle it, because like both of them, it's like they heat up at night. I used to joke that sleeping with Scott is like sleeping next to a baked potato that's like warming
like
in the oven.
Potato. Yeah,
he's so warm, and Isaac is also so warm. So I'm just like, how do they not sweat to death next to each other all night? I have no idea. But we have the room. It's the whole bedtime. It's the bedtime process that's annoying, because like we eat dinner. And then we get ready for the next day, and then we go upstairs, and then he takes a shower and we put in our pajamas. Then we either read a book or watch something together. And then, it's time for bed. So we schlep him into his room. And then we used to just sit in there for like 20 minutes. He would fall asleep. We would sneak out, and we'd have, like however many, if he slept the night, then great. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't come in till like 12, 1 o'clock. And then when his dad got sick, it became like 11:30, and then a couple weeks would go by, and then it was like 10:30, and now it's like 9:30. Like now he's in there for like a fucking half hour. In fact, 2 nights ago, we were in his room for like 2 hours just trying to get him to fall asleep in his own room. And after a while, you're just like, God, kill me. But again, like you and Randy you've never slept in the same bed though, whereas like he and I kind of always have. So like, and also Scott and I like have a different eating schedule than Isaac, because we've been trying to intermittent fast, which means we're not quite done with the day when he's going to sleep. So if he comes in our room at 9 o'clock, we could be eating like fruit or cheese and like we try to have a healthy snack before bed. And like, of course he's starving and he wants to eat it, and then he can't fall. It's just a flipping mess. It's so bad right now. And we can, we have different therapists working on it. One of them's like, build up his confidence. He can do it. You guys got it. And then one of them's like, just lock the goddamn door. I'm like, I can't do that to him.
Yeah, no, I
can't do it.
I did suck it up. And I think that I did have the space to be able to manage that with just she and I, right? And there was a point, and we would talk about it periodically. So we would do, like, I would let her do it. But what ended up happening though, and that's one of the reasons that I ended up going to sleep the way that I did, is that the reason that, I'm out, because you're like, oh, you're always like, are you awake around 10 o'clock? And it's
No.
because we come into the bedroom about 9:30, and it
Mhm.
used to be a lot driven by her, because we would go in the bedroom, and in the same way that you were talking about, that you and Scott try to put him to sleep and
Yeah.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
like that process used to happen on my bed. And so she would go in,
Yeah.
and what ended up happening is I was so exhausted that I would just fall asleep. And so
Yes, I
we
don't
would
wanna
go
fall asleep
in,
in a chair in his room.
and we never left. So that
Yeah.
process, like I would go to sleep anywhere between 9 and 10, and we would just go to sleep. Like we would both go to sleep, and I'd rather sleep than put her to sleep and then I have to get up and go to my bed. Like, no, I can't
Yeah.
do that. So that's
So
how
you
we
guys
did it.
have a couple things going for you that I don't. A, you homeschool, and he
True.
has to be up and at school by 8 o'clock. Two,
True.
you and Randy have never really slept in the same bed. Like he's always
Right.
slept somewhere else. You sleep with the girls. Scott and I sleep in the same bed. And three, so you're used to that already. And then three, like you make other arrangements for being intimate. Whereas like
Right. Yeah, we do.
because you don't sleep in the same bed, you guys have a whole nother thing going on with your
And it's the best, by the
personal
way.
life.
All I'm saying is, like, it's the best. It's
I
like the
mean, it
best
could
thing.
be the best, but and I
Sorry.
don't want to give too much away about your
Yeah.
life that you don't want me to give away. But like, I don't necessarily have that luxury.
I
I would
get
have
it.
to create that luxury. Like I would
Yep.
have to look at my calendar and be like, this looks like a good time where we could fit it in since we're can't ever be,
Yeah.
have relations at night like ever again. So that part's been a little difficult too, just because we never know when he's gonna come in or not. So we're just like, can't risk it. Sorry. I like you, but not tonight, baby. Because it's too risky. And if he walks in, I mean, I could probably talk my way out of it. Scott would just lose his mind and fall on the floor. Like he
There
would
is
just be like,
It would be
he's
scary. I think it would be
too
scary to
bashful.
any kid. It would be scary to any kid, I have to
I mean,
say.
we certainly don't want to scare him,
Yeah. It would just
you
be
know.
weird. It's like, what is happening to my mom?
Well, we had a no, we he has asked me about sex before, and I told him, I dealt with those questions similarly to
Getting
how
my
I dealt
water.
with. Yeah, go ahead. So like when Emily passed away, my daughter died from a heroin addiction, and I told Isaac that her brain was sick and she took too much medicine and it made her fall asleep and not wake up. I said the medicine didn't belong to her. Like I gave him like a
Mhm.
3-4 year old's version of what happened. So now that he's asked me about sex, I said, people like to hug and kiss each other naked. And he was like, why? And I was like, because that's how, I was like, first of all, because that's how you have babies. But second of all, because, it's nice and it's something adults like to do. And he goes, don't worry, I'll never do it ever. And I was like, you may think differently when you're older. He's like, no, I won't. And then this is also, of course, as he's going to sleep. So then a couple
Yeah.
of minutes go by and he goes, wait, so you and dad did this? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, my dad got naked and did this with you. And I was like, how do you think you got here? Which actually isn't even true because he was IVF.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do you think you got here? And he was like, ugh, I can't believe it. He's so disgusted with the whole, but that's all he knows. So like, I
Yeah.
think that I could be like, I could get away with that description if he did
Oh,
walk
yeah.
in on this. I could
Yeah.
probably be like, we're just hugging. And
Yeah.
just have him be like, stop, even
Yeah.
that will be traumatic, but he doesn't have to know like the
Yeah.
stuff until he gets older. So it's still a safe explanation, even though it disgusts him beyond reason. Anyway, so it's been very challenging. And also I'm not getting good sleep. And also I'm starting to do the event thing. When the closer the event gets, the weirder my sleep gets. Cause I try not to overthink, overanalyze, overstress during the day. So it comes out at night. So 4 a.m. I'll have like a
Oh
4
my
a.m.
God.
terror wake up. I'll be like, I forgot to, whatever. And it's like nothing. But in my head, I'll just be like, oh my God, this is going to cost this much. Where am I going to get it? Or, oh my God, I forgot to check on this speaker. Or, oh my God, I forgot to, I'm just starting to have 4 a.m. like, oh my Gods, I guess. I don't know what else to call them. But yeah, you know me, I internalize stress because I don't recognize it. So my body just has to like have another outlet. At least I don't have like IBS. That would be much worse.
Oh my
I'd rather
God. That's like,
wake up at 4 in the morning scared than like than constantly be in agony in my stomach. So this is better. This is,
But sleep, like there's something that I remember, if like when I first had the kids, both of them, and I went through a phase of about 4 years, I think, from the first one to the second one, like that chunk of having babies. I realized, or I recognized how much my health deteriorated
yeah.
during those 4 months because of lack of sleep, just lack of
know.
sleep,
Oh, it's
And,
awful. Yeah.
and I remember how hard it was. And from then on, I was like, I am going to just want sleep. And it's the thing that it had, like any kind of intimate time with Ran. I
Mhm.
just remember going, I
Everything
cannot do this
hurts.
at
Yeah.
night because at night I have to sleep. Like, I just remember that became a thing where I was just like,
Yeah.
there's no way. Because every night, even if it was like one night where I didn't sleep as deeply or as long as I should have, it messed with me. It messed with me so badly. And I think that's why I ended up acquiescing to my kid, right?
Yeah.
But she did break through on her own, and she was capable of choosing to go in this on to take this challenge on. So I'm not telling you that she was immediately fine. Like, there was
Yeah.
never a point with May, even now she's still like that. There's never a point where she doesn't feel comfortable, like that she's just like gonna go to sleep and everything's gonna be like the way that the rest of us are. She
Yeah.
always have troubles, but she's now able to articulate it with me, and we
Yeah,
can
that's
help
the
her. I
thing.
help her, right? So she's much more mature. Weirdly though, it's so funny. Last night I'm sleeping, right? And then I turn around and I'm like, is that
What?
is that a human? There's a human in my bed.
That would scare the bejesus out of
She
me if you weren't
totally
used
came
to it.
in, but now she came in so slowly. I didn't even know she crawled into bed.
Yeah.
So she did, and I go, "Why did you
Cute.
come in?" And she goes, I don't know. She said something like, I found out it was like 1:30 and I thought I didn't fall asleep, but I guess I did fall asleep. And then she got anxiety because she really wants to fall asleep. I'm like, sleep is really important to you. You need to go to sleep. And so she did fall asleep, but she woke up at like 1:30 thinking she hadn't fallen asleep. And so she got a jolt of adrenaline and she came into my bedroom because
Yeah.
she needed to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, like Bonnie says her parents always lock the door. Like he's taken a bunch of tests recently and he's suffering from pretty severe separation anxiety,
Hmm.
which could be a result of the pandemic, or it could be a result of his sister, or it could be a result of like his dad being sick and being in the hospital for a couple days, or
And
it
is
could
it
just
for both of you or one of you, or is it the cohesive like unit of
he
the
doesn't care if it's one of us or the other, if that's what you mean.
yeah.
Like, if I'm away, he's not losing his mind. If Scott's away, he's not losing his mind. Like, he
Okay.
just feels safer in our bed, and I'll not, and I can't, and he is a little empathic, and I can't, and to be fully honest, like when he was little, and we should have sleep trained him, I couldn't do it because my other child was unsafe and not
Mm,
safe, and so having him sleep there made me feel better. It made me feel
yeah, yeah.
safe. Like it soothed
Yeah.
his father and I, which probably wasn't best for him because now he's the one that needs the soothing because we sort of train, and maybe he picks up on the fact that like, yeah, I don't care how old he's going to be. I'll probably always feel safer if he's in between us, even if he's 25, just because, I mean, it's stupid, but it's like, at least I know he's there and I can sleep better knowing he's not, in trouble somewhere. So it's kind of a mess. It's a
Mm,
mess. Plus he's the
it's rough.
youngest and they're a pain in the ass and
They
it's a
are.
mess. But
And
anyway.
yeah, and I mean I feel you on the bonding part of it. There's a certain level of, when I let go of thinking that May needed to be on her own. Like when I let that go, when I was just like, you know what? I hope she's gonna be fine, right? And she did on her own
Mhm.
advocate for herself and do all the things. But I remember there was a point there where I was like, I know my kid after seeing these stride, like she's so good about so many different things, and the way that she's matured is really astounding to me. So I knew that she was going to be okay. And then
Yeah.
there was a point that I was like, she's not going to sleep with me for the rest of her life.
I mean, they can't. But the thing is, like, but they can't sleep with us for the rest of their lives. I mean, clearly he's not going to do that. It's just that at this age, he should be going to summer camp and
Oh yeah,
sleepovers and
I
Cub
get that
Scouts.
part.
And he's not able to do those things because we've crippled him or because he's crippling himself in this way. And it's like, I want him to have that skill. I don't want to deny him that skill for my own comfort. So, and his therapist is also like, look, you can't solve every problem for him. If you do, he'll become an enormous drain on society. So
No,
like
I get that.
you can't just be like, he can't just feel unsafe and then come to you. He has to learn how to deal with being uncomfortable.
Well, I have
And
to say that both of my
yeah.
kids, but see, there's a part of me, I get that. I completely understand. But I have seen, I've seen mine go through it, and I've seen them process it on their, meaning they're really uncomfortable and they still do the thing, like without, and they know mama's there. Like I know Hunter hates to be sick. They just hate to be sick. So when needed, Hunty will come, and I know when I get a wake up, Mama, I'm not, I'm feeling that heart thing again.
Yeah.
I go, okay. And then we just take it from there. She comes and sleeps with me,
Aw.
So it's
just
I can,
difficult.
yeah.
I don't want him not to be able to self-soothe or figure things out by himself. And I may have been the parent to, like, I'm kind of a controlling person. So if my daughter, because if she ever had a problem, I would go and fix it. But I think I created a situation where she couldn't grow her own coping skills because I was just like, she was borderline. So she would create an emergency that didn't really exist. And then I would get involved out of anger or frustration or just, who's hurting my kid? And then it would be resolved, but without her input, because she couldn't really do it.
Yeah.
Like everything was an emergency and a disaster. So like I took care of her, even though it didn't help her grow any coping skills. And I'm probably doing that with him now. Like, if someone's hurting you, I will kill them and I will fix it and I will call someone. And like, therefore, they never have to be uncomfortable. And that's not good. That he needs to be able to. God, I mean, I don't know how my mother, I don't know how she just put us in her own bed and to hell with the rest of it. And I just remember laying there staring at the ceiling for hours probably. But that's why I don't understand why he can't just be like, here's a flashlight, make some shit on the wall. Good night.
I thought about
anything to do with it.
I'm only telling you that I thought the same thing about May. I was like, you know what? I have no idea what's going to happen. But I got to tell you, she did it. And on her own terms, and she can do it. And, and part of the coping skills mechanism stuff, there are some things that we help with, but that's something that we often talk about is you have to advocate for yourself. Like in almost every situation for both of them, especially like with May with the ADHD stuff, and then Hunter with a lot of the hyper sensitivity things that she's got going on, that it's like you always have to, and then we talk about it because they've had breakdowns and they come back, and then we go like, you know what, next time we have to do a better job of advocating for you, and then maybe these are some things for you to take look at these things, look at these things before you do it for next time. And we do our very best, but they are doing it on their own. But I just tell them about it. I don't do it for them.
Yeah, it's uncharted water because of the pandemic. I have no idea how that affected him. I have no idea how the death of Emily affected him. I won't know until he's older and can really tell me. And that's if he decides to reflect on it. And who knows? So I mean, so even though I have one therapist, like, just shove him in there and lock the door, and I have the other one being like, let's build up his confidence for these skills. And like, I'm sure both are right. But I'm not going to lock him out because it will probably cause even more trauma than he's already experienced. And who needs that?
I just feel like, to me, I remember thinking like, there are some battles I just cannot fight. And the nighttime battles were the ones that I just could not do it. And even now, like, we just had another argument with May, and I felt really bad about it because what ends up happening is at night, she wants to have important conversations for her, right? Where she wants to get permission to do something. She wants to
Isaac too.
want to
Always
do
at night.
at night. And I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
have an I don't. And
Yeah.
she keeps on pushing and pushing. And the other day
She
I
does
just
too.
lost
That's so weird. I wonder
I
what that
lost
is.
my mind, and I was like, I don't want to talk about this issue right now. I want to
Yeah.
talk about it in the daytime tomorrow. Let's talk about it tomorrow. And
It's like all of a sudden everything they're worried about just comes flying out of their mouth, and you need to reassure them about 18 things before they can sleep. And it's like, just hold it in.
Well, yeah.
I can't solve this for you.
Yes, but no, it's not that. It's more like, can I have an extra hour on insert game, insert? And I'm like, no, we have that. But mom, I really just, and so she starts to do the whole,
yeah,
I need to get more
she's
time.
negotiating and arguing.
Yes,
like
and I'm like, this is not, I need to go to sleep.
Too.
I'm going to get really upset. And then I got really upset the other day. And so I told her, I cannot have you address these issues in the night. Because
so I get asked things like, what happens if you go through a black hole? Where do you go? Like in space? And I'm like, clearly I've never done that. So how would I know? How would I know? He's like, I don't know. I just thought you would know. And I'm like, if someone went through a black hole, they've not come back to tell us what happens. So
you can do and
go
see.
to bed.
Can't you say, like, let's do some research tomorrow?
Yes, I said, let's talk about it tomorrow. And he's like, all right. And then it'll be something else like that. Like,
yeah.
What happens when you drown? Where's the body when you drown? Like shit like that. And I'm like, come on, because he's into Titanic lately.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I couldn't possibly begin to speculate. Could we just go to bed? You know?
Oh my God.
Just fucking go to bed. All right.
What do you think?
Have something what?
No, should we talk about one podcasting thing today, you think? Possibly.
I would like to talk about this. Not you.
What is this? The podcast consumer. Yeah. So
is that your choice though, or would you rather do the Apple Podcast thing?
No, we can do this. The other thing is like, yeah, no. So folks, let's talk. And I think that this is
42 minutes in. Let's talk about podcasts.
Podcast consumer 2023. Yeah, no, but listen, the reason that it aligns, or how I was going to segue into this, is because one of the huge, like, big piece of news for this thing is that, did you see how young the younger population?
I did, and I had some comments about it actually, because
did you now?
I did, because later in the study it shows some interesting and unusual statistics that can be easily explained by the fact that of the age.
Okay, all right. So So let's talk about that, and then you tell me, because I didn't actually go all the way to the end of I was in the process of looking at that stuff. So it looks like that, the age group from 12 to 34 is really, really growing. So before we start to talk about that though, guys, we are talking about the podcast consumer 2023, the data that has just come out from Edison Research. Link is going to be in the show notes. For those of you who would like to look at all of this stuff. So it said that the age group of 12 to 34 is really growing. We are currently at 55% monthly podcast listenership, with 40% weekly podcast listeners in that age group. And it went down last year, but it actually went up this year again. Not to say that it was too much, but there is that chunk, right? So that part was pretty astounding. Mind you, our age group, which is the 35 to 54, holy crap, that had the biggest amount of growth. It had literally like at 8% percentage point that it grew from last year to this year. The only time that it grew almost that much was from 2018 to 2019, and that was 7 percentage points, which is crazy. So anyway, those are some things. Tell me about your thoughts of why the youth grew so much.
This year, so the age of monthly podcast listeners, and this is people who listened to one in the past month, 50% of those listeners are 12 to 34. But then I also noticed that the education and the household income became a little more separated. For example, it used to be that the majority of podcast listeners made 75K or more household income. It used to be that like 70% were college educated, and you can't have that if you have 12-year-olds as part of the sample group.
Oh, right,
So
right.
now that there are younger people, they're not going to be as affluent
Affluent.
because they're 12 and they don't have household income and education and employment. So that's naturally going to go down. It doesn't mean that like podcast listeners are getting dumber. They're just younger. And also the employment rate, like 31% are now unemployed. Well, that's because they're teenagers.
Right.
Whereas like I noticed that like that the amount of people who listen to 10 hours or more is much bigger. Like 30% of people listen to 10 hours or more a week. Yeah, that's also because they've got nothing else to do because they're younger. I mean, if half of them are 12, and also let's just say 12 to 34 is an enormous gap.
That's a huge.
Like, why would it not be 24
One or 24? That's right. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you that. But mind you, though, one of the key slides here, like a slide 20 that says podcast listeners are an advertiser's dream because they are still more affluent, more employed, and more educated than most, right? So I get that. I absolutely get that.
Even the younger kids are going to be more tech savvy. They're probably, they have access to tech, which means they're probably in more affluent families. And they're able to listen for longer, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, they are still great listeners because those kids can be influential with each other, with their parents. So it's still a really good audience. It's just interesting that it's now a younger audience. But yeah, like if I were 35, I think I would highly resent being in the same like age group as a 16-year-old person.
You have to
like that's 30 years.
I feel like we are definitely going to be having this conversation at some point. I don't know if we're going to be having it on She Podcast.
Yeah.
But here's another bit that's kind of pissing me off as of late, because obviously we're getting older. I am older. I am 51 years old. Mm-hmm. And in almost every like survey that I've taken or any data points that you see, there's like all of the things that you're talking about. Like even let's say that 12 to 34 is big, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will do 24 to 30 or whatever, and then they go 55 plus.
Yeah, like hello, that's not the same as 70.
Right. And so especially with 55 to 65, like that age group is so...
It's ridiculous. In 3 years, my husband's going to be in the same age bracket as his mother. It's so dumb.
It's crazy, right? And so whenever you see those surveys and they start to do the research, they're going to go like, oh my God, this... But it's like, I'm a 55, like once I hit 55, I don't want to be dismissed as all the 55 plus people.
Like I don't either. They're so different, because also 55 is so much different now than it was when these like age brackets were made. Like 55 is like not retired or out of the game, or 55 used to be Wilford Brimley, for fuck's sake.
Exactly, and I think
the Golden Girls.
Absolutely,
now it's like Goldie Hawn, and I mean.
There's so much change that has happened in our culture. And I think these are the little bits where you just kind of do it because
everyone else has always done it.
Everybody else has always done it. That's right. And so whenever we are looking at our own demographics for people who are listening to us and being able to hear what's going on, it's like, it's going to be so much more important to get that in that demographic, that 55 plus 65-year-olds, right? Because there's a lot of us, even within our own community for She Podcasts right now, that have podcasts that do have a focus of women over a certain age. And when I'm saying a certain age, I'm not trying to be nice about age, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people who are like 40 something, 50 something, 60, and there's something to be said about each one of those decades and how we age, and the importance of having leadership or women who are championing having diverse conversations after 55 that are not
Mhm.
clumped together, right? Because it's like, oh, you're 55. Let's talk about end of life. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the advertiser's dream, like there's a slide here with intrusiveness of advertisements, and for YouTube it says 43% of people said it's very intrusive, whereas
For
for
YouTube.
podcasts, yeah, for
Oh,
YouTube, 32% for TV, 22% for AM FM radio, and only 17% for podcasts. That means 46% of people said I don't mind them at all.
that's
Can you
crazy.
imagine?
You know, I think that there's because I've been consuming a lot more content on YouTube, I'm going to give
Mhm.
you an end user experience for that. So
Okay.
if I'm listening to a podcast that has ads, right? I usually am using my Bluetooth headphones, and I'm generally speaking doing something else, like
Mhm.
I'm washing dishes or I'm moving around, doing like that kind of stuff, right? So, oh, ad comes in. I either have my phone in my pocket. So if the pocket was there, I would take it out and really quickly do like, 15 seconds forward. And now what I do is I just look at my phone, beep, 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 beep. And it's like literally 2 seconds of me skipping through the ads.
Yeah.
It's not intrusive. I don't care if it's playing. I just bing, 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 and I'm done. If I'm watching something on YouTube,
Mhm.
this is not easy because you go
No,
into YouTube
not.
and then you're like, gotta wait till that little skip thingy pops up at the bottom. And so you
Yep.
have to stop and be like, bink, bink. It's so annoying. And so if I'm watching something
Bink,
like that, what bink, it
bink.
sucks. It's so I don't like it because it's built into the system that you can't skip it. So please, podcast
I hate
apps
that. Yeah,
and
I agree.
podcasting people, please don't make it so that I can't skip the ads like YouTube because it's so annoying. I mean, you can in YouTube if you pay for premium, I get it. But you can't do that for podcasts though.
No,
You can't do that.
can't or shouldn't, right?
It's it's so crazy. Yeah. So yeah, the experience of and there's been a couple times where I all of a sudden forgot and I'm listening to the third ad about
Mm.
something I don't even know. And I'm like, what is happening? What happened to my show? Oh,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
have to go.
You kind of space out. So yeah, people don't even always notice that it's happening, which is
Yeah,
kind of good also because
that's
it
yes.
should blend seamlessly into a show. That's what makes podcast advertising good, I think, is that
Well, I have to
you
disagree with
think it's
it.
sneaky, but I'm saying just make
Mm,
it part of the content and
well,
it's
part of the
at
content
least
is good.
interesting.
I get it. But Jess, the thing that everybody's selling right now in terms of podcast advertising is programmatic. And
Yeah,
programmatic is not part of the show.
yeah.
It's
Hold on, someone's
just
asking for the
annoying.
infinite dial link. I'm putting it in the
But I
chat.
don't think it's, dude, I don't think it's infinite dial. It's the podcast consumer. I don't
It
think that's,
it is infinite dial. The podcast consumer 2023 and infinite dial
and,
report.
oh, okay. So both. Yes. So
Yeah,
both
both.
the
I guess, yeah.
podcast consumer,
It's
infinite
part
dial.
of the
Okay.
infinite dial, which is like the whole enchilada. Oh,
Yeah.
I only posted it on YouTube. How do I post it everywhere? Oh, wait, here we go.
Can you do it
Nope,
with
I can't do
everyone?
it on Facebook. Anyway,
Sorry,
go to
Bonnie.
edisonresearch.com.
We've tried, Bonnie. It's just
Just
not
go to
working.
edisonresearch.com and then you'll see it. Sorry about that. And it'll also be in our show notes at
Yeah.
shepodcast.com.
But there's a lot of really wonderful information in here because they really broke down a lot of listenership. They really also broke down the, how do you say it? The categories of what people are looking at, especially like the top podcast genres by reach, which are
Look how French you were when you said genres.
genres.
That was impressive.
So, I mean, comedy and society and culture and news and true crime, not surprised. Sports and business, like all the same. The top 6, 7 are not surprising to
Yeah.
me at all. And you know what I dislike though? The
Mhm.
society and culture category. I think that specific category is needs to be broken down a little bit more because it's getting to be the put it there if it doesn't fit anywhere else category.
Yeah.
And I feel that a little like it's too broad of a
You think?
category. Yeah. And I do feel that there needs to be more nuance to especially the society and culture one because some of them are absolutely that they fall into society and culture, but let's pretend let's do this. I want to do a show. And in my show, it is going to be sort of like let's lean into the reality show aspect. So let's say I am going to be doing an audio journal of my life. And it's going to be like a total reality show type of audio journal that I'm publishing out there. It's going to be called the Elsie Show. Where does that go? I would put it under society and culture.
Right.
But there's
I would
also
too.
the actual society and culture shows that are about social issues or cultural issues or, the ones that actually fit in there. Like mine would be under, I don't even know, like where entertainment, but it wouldn't really be entertainment. Is that even in there? It's not even in there.
Entertainment, no, it's like lifestyle, society and culture, comedy. I mean,
Well, I
entertainment
guess.
is think about that. You can't just do entertainment is drama, true crime. Entertainment
That
is sports,
is
for Christ's
everything.
sake.
Yeah, entertainment can be
Can you
anything and
believe
everything.
that? Sports is entertainment. I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, but like it's unthinkable.
It's a pastime for so many
I know.
folks,
I'm
but I
just
guess.
kidding. I'm bored
But
by
it's
it. But that's
like,
just me.
look at and then they broke down like weekly comedy podcast listeners. So this is a genre, dude.
I think this is just a slice though, right? Like, cause it's not like they don't have for everything, just comedy.
I think they focused on comedy just to look at the demographic survey for the comedy
the number
stuff.
one genre by reach.
And I think that's probably where they went. Now,
yeah,
I am someone who does not like, I have never subscribed to a comedy podcast or I've only listened like to a Mark Maron podcast episode because of the guest that he had on. Like I never really actively went to listen, and his is, I guess, comedy is what I assume. I have laughed at podcasts for sure. Like there's been many times that I've actively lost my mind over something that's happening in a podcast, but it wasn't a comedy podcast. It was a podcast, and the hosts or whoever's talking did some funny stuff and they said funny things, and therefore I lost my mind. But it wasn't like, this is a comedy podcast, right? There's been many times where I'm like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And I literally have looked like a crazy lady laughing hysterically down the street because the podcast I was listening to made me laugh so hard. But again, it wasn't like a podcast episode that was comedy. So I don't know.
I don't like that it's like 62% white people still.
There's a lot of white people.
Not because of that can't just be because it's comedy. I'm assuming that's just because
we have to look at, well, mind you, it was who knows? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is. Maybe
so, but I don't know.
Because are there, I mean, again, people of color tend to grow, and especially for comedy, Jess, oh my God. There's such a vast difference.
I know.
Of our own people telling jokes about our own culture.
I know, and there's not that many.
Right.
I know.
There really, literally are not very many non-white men comedy shows.
I know.
That are famous, right? That are like super on the top. There are lots of funny with people of color podcast out there, but they're not like top of mind where you're like, oh, that's so hilarious.
It's a shame though.
So yeah, but again, it's like, it's such a double-edged sword though. Like I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't.
What?
No, I'm just thinking about the amount of eyes. Like, I'm not sure I want to be that famous with all of the world. Like, everybody then has the right to say shit. Like, what I was just
What are
talking
you
about in terms
talking
of
about?
I'm thinking about Vanderpump Rules and what's going down with them. So, like, everybody has something to say about that.
You don't have to listen to it ever.
No, I'm saying, really? Especially when
Yeah.
CNN is covering your life.
I mean, it's pretty exciting stuff, but if it bothers you, you can tune it out.
Of course, like the one lady, the one woman, she left social for at least a week or two and disappeared. But what I'm saying to you is that with the amount of ears or eyes on your work, you are now scrutinized by
You're already
so
scrutinized,
much.
Elsie. Do you know how many people out there are just like, that bitch is so fake? Oh my God. Those two are
This is true, but
annoying.
they're not writing about it and they're not talking about me on their
Yet.
podcasts.
But you never know. It could happen any day now.
Still, though, I just don't
Would
know.
you lose sleep if someone was like, those two are the biggest assholes that ever lived?
It's one of the reasons why I don't read reviews.
Yeah, I don't think you know me, I cannot stand a negative review.
Yeah, I know, because you go
I always
crazy about that shit.
address it and defend myself.
Yes,
and the whole
totally.
thing. Like, I don't like it either, but
I don't like it.
The more well-known you are, the more possible it is. It's just part of doing what you do and doing it. If you do it well and people take notice, they're going to criticize you.
Yeah, but see, that's like, I don't have it. But you know, when people say that kind of stuff, when they're like, you just ignore it. You just don't. And then you think about it, and there are some people, I would say, that are equipped in the same way that there are some genes in certain bodies that are better equipped to possibly play sports, right? You would definitely say, like, oh, this person is naturally great at making sports versus another one, right? You would never just be like, just keep doing it to your kid. If your kid was just like not in their body, but they really love books better, you would never put them in a situation where they had to be doing the sports and doing the sport. I'm saying, so if you have
You're
the type of
less capable of dealing with criticism.
Yes, I am actually
How
saying
do you
that
know this about yourself.
Because I hate it. And
when was the last time you even got an onslaught of criticism?
It's not onslaught. It's any kind. It's like if somebody says a little something.
Someone post something negative about Elsie in the comments right now.
Yeah, if somebody
let's
does
see
it,
let's see what happens.
I get so upset. No, but I mean, seriously, I get and it derails my entire day, and I'm looped. My brain cannot let it go, and I can't not. It is so hard for me, and especially if somebody has trouble like in our group, like if anybody has trouble in our group or is in a position where they're not feeling heard, I can't
you're devastated.
Let go of it. Like, I can't.
You know why though? It's dopamine. It's not because you're ruminating. It's because that's the same reason why I want to fight back, because you also have an innate ability to like lash out for me, like I can lash out in an intelligent and well-spoken way. So I want to do it because it makes my little brain, like my ADHD
but that's not actually
happy.
It's not it. It's just, it feels like, I feel it's that whole, what is it?
Rejection sensitivity perception
disorder or something. Anyway, but RSD or whatever, that's like really bad. Now, Andrea, like, obviously, so this was a thing for me. I was an actor and I was criticized on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, Jess, that was the only time. And the reason I quit is because it was the darkest time of my life.
Yeah.
I was sleeping till 12 p.m. and I was in a constant state of anxiety because I had to pick up the phone and I had to go to another audition where people were not, it's like living a life where you're trying to shine so bright and nobody is actually looking at you every day.
You don't have to be an actress to feel that, but
well, exactly. And so I like, my whole life I've been an incredibly positive human. Like, I'm very perky for the most part and fairly energetic and enthusiastic about life. but having that like constant thing, like I was not made for that. And hence I don't have the capacity to deal with that. So things like, being the front facing part of negative conversations or critical conversations is
Yeah.
not, I'm not made for that. And I'm not the best person to ask to do that. There's some people.
Go ahead.
No, there are some people who actually, if they're put in that situation, are so eloquent and so calm and can really deliver. Like I admire that. I can't do that. Like I
can do it, but
I cry and I become a ball, and then it affects me for like 2 weeks.
Elsie, didn't they used to tell you, some of them would tell you that you were too Hispanic, and then some of them would tell you you're too white?
All of them told me that. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Why
You
are you
either too Hispanic or too white for whatever role you were auditioning for? It's the weirdest thing.
And then the other layer of it, which is really bizarro and horrible, it's like when they couldn't figure out where I was from. And so I was too exotic to be, I was too exotic.
That's so dumb.
And I was like, what does that even mean? And
it means you're tan with green eyes, so we don't know what you are.
Correct. And then here's the other one. You are too pretty to be you are too pretty to be the best friend. But I would never be considered
for the
lead role. So, it's a constant thing. And I would remember going home.
You're too brown for the lead, but you're too pretty for the friend. So therefore you get no jobs. Yes. That makes total sense.
Yes. And so it was it was really defeating in so many, because I'd never experienced. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. All I'm saying is that kind of a thing, like I loop in my own brain and I can't let it go. And I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to do it.
Sucks.
Anyway, dude, we have to quit.
Let's quit. All right. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. We had a very nice in-person audience. So thank you guys. And thank you for listening today. Listen, it's almost over. The nominations for Sonic Bloom Awards are over on March 31st. So please go to sonicbloomawards.com. Get your nominations in. Nominate someone for one of the categories so that they can win at She Podcast Live, which is in June 19th through the 22nd in Washington, D.C. And if you want tickets for that, shepodcastlive.com. Please check both of those out. Definitely buy a ticket to that. And we have some news that we'll probably share with you next week about helping us out with the event if you're interested in helping. And but anyway, yeah. So I think that's all the what's it called again? Calls to action that we have today. But you can always find us on social. We are at She Podcast everywhere. Pins to talk. What the hell is wrong with me? Pinstagram.
That's great. It's
Pinstagram, Instagram, and Face Twitter.
Pinstagram talk.
Face twit. Sorry, I can't stop. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest at She Podcast.
We should get that URL.
Go see our show notes at shepodcast.com. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love you.
Mean it.
Bye. Pins to talk. What's wrong with me?
I love that. That's that's more of an Elsie thing.
I can't believe I did it. I got all upset and I wanted to say all three things at the same time. It was so dumb.
Oh my God. We literally, our recording is
exactly 1 hour.
Yeah, it was exactly 1 hour. That is
1 hour and 41 seconds. That is
we weird. Are so genius. What number is this again?
993. I cannot believe you can't remember what number it is.
I can't remember. I cannot remember.
All right, we're going to end this broadcast and see you soon.
Thank you everybody for being here. Yvette and Bonnie and Andrea and everybody else who and Jenny. That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
We love you.
See you soon.
Bye.